Phil, I'll let you tell your own story of how you know Don and Gino. But here, I met them at Momentum Builder. I actually went to the event and sat front row. And I remember, I think Don, maybe, no, I think it was Gino actually came up to me. Hey, man, thanks for sitting at the front row. Kind of like, it motivates us a little bit. And anyway, it just started a conversation where it ended up, I interviewed him on my podcast and promoted Momentum Builder 2023, actually. And Don told me this. I haven't verified it, but I think I was the number one most used discount code. Which, if you're considering going, by the way, to Momentum Builder and have not yet bought your ticket, the biggest discount code out there, bigger than Phil Treadwell's, is Jimi231. In the past, it was a $231 discount. Now it is $331. So if you're on the fence about going, Jimi231 gives you $331 off. But anyway, you see what I did there? So I did that for last year. And here, they invited me to come to the show and interview all of the speakers, one of them being Phil Treadwell. That was an epic talk. And dude, we got some great content out of that afterwards. I think my most played reel from all of the reels I did, my God, probably like 100, was about building momentum. So with that, we welcome Phil Treadwell. And I guess, I don't know if I should edify you. Does everybody know who you are? Mindset coach, M1 Academy, and very well-known podcaster. You've had pretty much everybody that is someone in the mortgage industry on your show, Mortgage Marketing Expert podcast. You've had Gary Vee on. I mean, the list goes on and on. What's up, Phil? Welcome.
What's up, Jimmy? I apologize to everyone. I'm a little bit hoarse. That's because I've been traveling and I left Dallas a couple of days ago and it was sunny and 70. I landed in Dayton, Ohio, and it was 33 and snowing, and I was in short sleeves. So, needless to say, I'm losing my voice a little bit. But yes, Don and Gino, two awesome dudes, DG Media. I had run across Momentum Builder. Rene Rodriguez is a good friend of mine and mentor. And whenever he was doing his AmpCon, I'd first seen Momentum Builder whenever they kind of did their events back to back a few years ago. And then last year I saw the lineup on stage and I'm like, holy cow, these are good friends of mine. I reached out to Don and Gino, had the opportunity to speak and did some collaboration with PRMG and their leadership, and they've just gotten to know these guys. And what I can say about Don and Gino, and as everybody I'm sure knows, Don and Gino have a heart for this industry like very few people do. They're trying to build a platform. They're trying to create content that's actually going to help people get results, to move the needle in their business, to share personalities, to share content, and it's just an incredible platform. And I just love being part of the community, and I'm very very excited about the Momentum Builder event coming up here in a few weeks. So as Jimmy said, if you haven't gotten your ticket, you've got to get your ticket. You've got to be there. It's an incredible lineup. But more so than the lineup is the other people that will be there. There is an incredibly high caliber group of attendees that you can network with, that you can collaborate with. And that's the part that I'm looking forward to, is just seeing all the people that are going to be there. And, this group of like-minded individuals that are all linking arms, trying to raise the industry, trying to raise the standard in the industry rather, and really move us forward to a more modern, relevant place. So I'm just excited to be here. Jimmy, good friend of mine, excited to collaborate with you again. We've chopped it up on many occasions, so
Dude,
this should
for
be
sure.
fun.
So, okay, you mentioned community, and I would agree that I'm most looking forward to the networking at the event for sure. But just what you're going to learn as a mortgage loan officer. I mean, if you're looking to change the game or just like get a new idea, or hey, what I'm doing isn't working, I need something new. Like, man, the list of speakers is just absolutely epic. It's TED Talk style, 20 minutes. And dude, I'm really excited about it. So, all right, with that, with all of the edification going on here, 8 minutes in, my God, we edified each other for that long and sold Momentum Builder. That's pretty funny. But I want to move on to New Year's resolutions. So this is something that I think you and I messaged each other back for, and then we just stopped because I was like, no, I want to do this on a recording. So New Year's resolutions. So first off, I really don't, not big on New Year's resolutions myself. So if you are that person, hey, whatever. I look at it like this: one day, or day one, just like, The Rock, the Rock did all those reels on that, where he's just saying it over and over again. It's just so profound and so cliche, but it's like, I want to decide to do something and then do it. I don't want to wait for one day. I want to start day one right now. And I, I think that will flow into momentum builder too, because look, it's mid-February or end of February that we're doing this. And I mean, that's not the new year, like I think a lot of people have fizzled out from their resolutions by that point. And I think that it's one of the best times to be like, no, this is day one. Phil, what do you think about all that?
That's a great topic, especially as we're starting the second month of the year. And I love the concept of one day or day one because all that implies is you have to take action now. I kind of have a phrase ready, fire, then aim. Too often we spend too much time trying to make plans, trying to put this perfect process together. And I say all the time with our coaching clients on the podcast, you cannot get better at something that you're not doing. You have to go and take action to improve. There's only so much education you can have. There's only so many podcasts you can listen to, books you can read, plans you can make until at some point you've got to go out and take action. That's how you're going to improve. So I love the concept of day one versus one day. But when it comes to New Year's resolutions, it's also inclusive of goals, the goals that we set for ourselves in any given year. Regardless of what you call it, it's the same thing. You have a list of things that you're going to accomplish and achieve in any given year. And everyone quits on the same day. And that's the day after perfect. If you've been perfect for a while, and then all of a sudden you're not perfect, and like, oh crap, and like I didn't work out. And what we have to do is understand that it's about staying consistent. 92% of people do not achieve those New Year's resolutions or goals that they set for themselves. And the two main reasons are the first one is clarity. We've got to get super specific in what it is we're trying to do. And if we've created those goals, if we know super specific what it is we want, not just we want our business to grow. Okay, is that more people? Is that more volume? Is that more units? Is that more leads? Is that more engagement on our social media, followers, whatever in those metrics? But we got to get super clear on what that is. Maybe we want to get healthy. Well, that's subjective. Is that losing body fat? Is that, losing weight, making your pants fit better? You want to do an endurance race? The first thing is you have to get clarity. That's the first reason people don't achieve their goals. The second reason, they don't want it bad enough. They just don't want it bad enough. And you've got to have something that you want really, really badly. You've got to want it like a drowning person wants their next breath. Maybe a morbid example, but someone in that situation, all they're thinking about is their next breath of air. It's not like, did I leave the stove and the kitchen light on? There's no distractions. So what happens is we don't want it bad enough, so we make excuses. An excuse is a reason that's wrapped in a lie, or a lie that's wrapped in a reason, however you want to look at it. I had a mentor that said any excuse will do. Doesn't matter what your excuse is. An excuse is an excuse. But we make a lot of excuses. John Maxwell says the opposite of success isn't failure. The opposite of success is excuses, because you can become successful from failure, but you can't become successful from excuses. So it's got to be something you want really, really badly. Now, if you've gotten clarity and it is something you want badly and you're still not doing it, the only thing that's left is belief. You don't actually believe it's going to happen. You don't believe that the plan that you have, the habits that you have, the work that you're going to do, you don't believe it's actually going to happen. And so the only way to resolve belief, because other people have done it, we can point to all kinds of examples of people that have had it way harder, that have done different things and achieved the same thing you're wanting to achieve. So if you don't believe it, the only way to fix that, ironically, is to go take action and create that belief. All it boils down to is know where you're going and go do the work. And the way that you stay consistent, persistent is to make sure what you want is something you want really badly, not just what other people think you should want.
An excuse wrapped in a lie. I really like that. So, okay, I want to dig a little bit deeper, but also
excuse is a reason wrapped in a lie.
Excuse is a reason wrapped in a lie. That's a meme, bro. That's a great Phil Treadwell quote.
I stole it. It's a quote from someone. It's not my original thought, but
I'm sure. We should make a meme of that. I think that's a great one. But so okay, I want to talk about this a little bit more. So you listed up clarity. You don't want it bad enough. You have to believe that you're going to achieve this. I think with me, I struggle with self-sabotage. A lot of times, okay, this is too easy. I don't really care much about it anymore. I've kind of already got the win. I go on to the next thing. And I think a lot of people do. Do you think that that's like someone not believing in it? Or do you think that that's something where it's like maybe they don't want it? Maybe there's not clarity. I think I know a lot of people that self-sabotage. Like, I mean, it just happens. Would you point it to any one of these three things that you just listed?
So, yeah, self-sabotage, I mean, it can come from either one of those things, but I think self-sabotage comes from insecurity, self-limiting beliefs. That's a mental thing, it's an attitude thing.
Hmm.
We have to understand that the way that I believe, no one human is inherently better than another human. The way that I believe, God's no respecter of persons. You don't have to believe what I believe. I'm not trying to preach. I'm just saying no one human is inherently better than another human. So if someone else has accomplished something, another person can too. They put their pants on the same way, one leg at a time. Now, everyone has the same opportunity. It just may be more difficult for you. Their opportunity may have been easier than yours. So we have to get over the fact that we have these self-limiting beliefs. Self-sabotage can be a lot of different things, but more often than not, it's insecurity. We don't believe that we can do it or that we're worthy of it. So we create those roadblocks for ourselves. And we just have to get over that and realize the cure of that is to do the thing, is to achieve the thing, and realize that the highs are never as high as we think they are going to be, and the lows are never as bad as we expect them to be. And we've just got to go out and create that belief in ourselves.
So I think that there are a lot of people, and maybe people listening to this right now that have maybe started a New Year's resolution and maybe by this point have kind of given up on it to kind of play off of the day one or one day. I mean, I've personally done this. I've just like I made a goal and I was like, well, this is outrageous. I'm never going to hit this. I just need to give up on it. But then I set a new goal. You know what I mean? And then went after it. I generally just like I'll make a new goal, whenever. But I tend to I'll have no integrity about the goal that I previously, set. But I mean, at least I'm pointed somewhere. So I guess to the person that's maybe discouraged right now, and I mean, maybe they gave up on their goal. Like, how would you how would you coach somebody to either adjust their goal or like, here, should I give up? Like, I guess what would you recommend somebody that's like, look, I set out to do something, but look, it's too much. I need to do something different, move in a different direction.
Yeah. So again, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier. If someone set a goal that they don't want really, really badly, then they're not going to work hard to achieve that goal. But there's a really good quote, I think it's by Leonardo da Vinci, that says the danger for most isn't in aiming too high and missing it, it's aiming too low and hitting the mark.
Hmm.
So we need to set big goals. We need to stretch ourselves. But if you're going down the path and like, there's no way I'm going to achieve this goal, it's okay to dial in or adjust the goal, but that doesn't mean we adjust the goal and do less. See, that's the problem is like, well, I'm not going to achieve the goal, so I'm going to quit.
Hmm.
Or I'm not going to achieve the goal, so I'm going to set a lower goal so I don't have to work as hard. That's the problem. Those are excuses. Those are reasons to let ourselves off the hook. Something that I think is an important part of this is no one person loves accountability. Like people all want to be held accountable differently, but no one loves accountability. I've even heard people say to me, I don't want to do it because someone told me I needed to do it. And we don't even want to hold ourselves accountable. Like when I
Right.
coach on daily habits or non negotiables and you have your checklist, a lot of people are like, I hate that list. You created a list, right? So we don't want to be held accountable. And so we'll make excuses of we're not going to achieve that thing, therefore we want to adjust it. I think you need to keep the goal what it is, and you need to work hard to the very end to not achieve it. The only time you should change the metric of a goal that you set for yourself is if you've achieved it too quickly or getting ready to achieve it and you want to punt it out further. I don't think we should move the goalposts in. I think we need to get better at kicking the ball through the goalpost, to use a football analogy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Or we need to push those suckers out further.
So, okay, kind of to go a little bit deeper with this, mindset is in a lot of ways discipline. But I guess like here, I guess how would you differentiate? Maybe that's something to talk about. But I think that a lot of times people lack a self-awareness of their own level of discipline in things. And this is something I personally had to work on a lot, is that I tend to, okay, what's the best possible, what, like under 10% body fat, shredded abs, like I tend to go after like the most difficult thing. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that like, okay, that requires these types of disciplines and these types of choices. I'm okay here, and like being able to actually admit that. What are things that you coach people on to manage their own self-awareness and encourage it?
Yeah, so there's a couple of pieces to that. The first one is comfort is the enemy of progress. Right. I think that's again, I do a lot of quotes. I think that's a P.T. Barnum quote. Comfort is the enemy of process or of progress. And when I share with people that success or achieving your goal, however you want to define it, is about consistent and persistent effort over time. The persistency is where people get messed up because we all know what it means to be consistent. But persistence is whether if you're staying consistent, whether you get results or not. A lot of people think you stop being consistent because you're not getting results, and that does happen. But more often than not, we start getting results and we're like, okay, now we don't have to be consistent anymore. And that's the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
So, in this, conversation around mindset and discipline, discipline isn't necessarily a bad word. It has a negative connotation in a lot of times, but discipline is just the habit. Our mindset is two things. It's our attitude, how we respond to things, the things that we put into our mind, the things that we say, and our actions, our habits, the things that we do. Those are the only things we can control, but we make excuses for one or the other. Well, I have a challenge in some way, therefore I can't have a positive attitude. Like, we lost 50 bips in the market, or I had a deal blow up, or my company this, or whatever. And then we make excuses for that whole situation. But what happens is to fix the mindset, you go take, or fix the attitude, you go take action. But if you're not taking action, sometimes it's simple as get motivated, listen to a podcast, get your mind right. They work back and forth. The discipline, because it has a negative connotation, the discipline is just the act of knowing how to control your mind or going and taking action. You can discipline yourself or hold yourself accountable through a checklist, through a coach, through a mentor, uh, you know, stay accountable because of your family. There's all kinds of reasons that we discipline ourselves, but again, it goes back to understanding what it is you want and why you're doing it. If you don't have a reason, you're not going to do it. If you're comfortable, you don't want to go any further. Hey, I've got a little cash flow. I've got some nice things. I can pay my bills. My business is kind of growing. In those instances, a lot of times we don't have a desire, a burning desire to want to do anymore, which means we need to go dream build a little bit. We need to think a little bigger, right? The biggest enemy to our future success is our past success.
Mm. Bro, comfort is the enemy of progress. Dude, discipline is the act of controlling the mind. I mean, dude, you just some those are some fire quotes. They really are. I mean, I've written them down. So okay. How do you shake you're a mindset coach? So I have to just assume that most of the people that come to you, Phil, aren't like weak mindset. They're like maybe a B level going for an A, or probably even an A going for an A plus. But I'm just like what you're saying. No one human is inherently better than the other. I think we all have to struggle with discipline. It is you have to control your mind. It's a tough thing. So to people that you're coaching maybe now, or maybe to anybody just listening to this, if they fell off the bandwagon and to them, it's not as simple as just jumping back on for whatever reason. How would you encourage people to get it done, move forward?
I would say them saying it's not as simple as jumping back on is an excuse. First of all, it is that simple. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is a decision that you're going to do what it takes. Tony Robbins says that you haven't truly made a decision unless it creates new action,
Mm.
right? I'm a mindset coach, but most of what we talk about is in terms of tactical. But the tactics don't matter if we don't have the mindset foundation. So I'll give you an example. I'll have clients that that are in our group or one-on-one program that just want to be in an environment and a community of people that have a growth mindset, that are continuing to level up. I have people that, are 9-figure a year producers that already have the right mindset dialed in, but they need to shift their mindset a little bit to create efficiency in their business. They need to create some effectiveness in their business. Or you'll have people that will come in and their business will explode and they're like, okay, wait a second. My calendar is packed with green activities, right? Red light, yellow light, green light, income producing activities that only they can do. So then we need to shift their mindset and say, okay, but those were green light activities when you were a $1 million a month producer. Now you're a $3 million a month producer. Are those still green light activities?
Right.
So a lot of times it gets into understanding what is the next step of our business. The strategy that got us here is not the strategy that's going to get us to the next level. We've got to constantly be doing that. And those are tactical approaches, but choosing your tactics is a mindset thing. You have to have some self-awareness. If you don't like making phone calls, saying you're going to make 50 phone calls a day is already a losing proposition,
Right.
right? But you have to have some type of a an outbound lead generation activity. So maybe that's text messages to set up phone calls or Zooms. Maybe that's DMs on social media to set up coffee appointments. There has to be something, but you've got to be self-aware enough to know, what do I either dislike the less or kind of enjoy, so that even when I don't want to do it, the discipline comes in. I'm still going to hold myself accountable because I want this thing really badly.
Right.
And I think the other thing too, when we talk about wanting something badly, and I've been talking to my M1 Academy group about this, it doesn't have to be some moral high ground. It doesn't have to be helping a certain number of families every year. It can be, but it can be like, I want a nice watch. I want a designer handbag. I want a new car. I want a Mercedes or a Bentley. Or, well, it doesn't matter. It can be one of those things that's what's going to drive you. Hey, I'd like to pay all of my bills on the same day every month and not run out of money before I run out of month. Right. But it
Well,
has to be something so that you go take action. It's all about action. But at the end of the day, we've got to understand from a mindset perspective what's going to create the action. What is the structure to make those effective and efficient? Right. That's part of this call here: effectiveness and efficiency. Super
right.
simple. Right. There's 3 E's: effort, what we do, track what we do; effectiveness, what are the things that we did that got us results, that got us a win, that moved the needle; and then efficiency, it's stacking our day and our time with only doing things that are effective. Now, we could take it as deep as you want, but at its core, that's it. What do we do? Let's track it. Let's find out what's working. And then what's working, let's stack our day and our week with just those things. That's what creates efficiency. You're getting more with the same amount of effort.
Bro, 100%. I want to dig deeper into that. And before we do, if anybody has any questions, just to mention the audience, if you have any questions for Phil, make sure that you type a comment and we'll make sure that we get to them. Um, bro, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like my workout journey, my fitness journey last year. I decided after 8 years of not working out, not one time in the gym, I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm only going to go 2 times a week, which is 100 times in a year. And I set such a low goal. Like, you think, man, if I can't even do that, is kind of where I was with it. But I was also like, look, it is so realistic for me to get to the gym twice a week. And I did it, and I ended up doing 200 workouts because I took action. I made a super easy small goal, and then I got the motivation, the momentum it built, and I just wrote it through. I think I went like 10 days in a row once or a couple times during the year. And I think that's like there's several other instances where I've completely failed and bombed at the goal that I set for myself. But I think that, like, look, it kind of needs to be selfish in some ways. It not just like, I'm going to donate this much money to charity type stuff. You're talking about like being like, you know, I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong, but I think that a lot of things do have to be selfish. I wouldn't go for a watch, but maybe a new car. And whatever your thing is, you have to have
Right.
something that's at the end of it. And I think I'm glad that you mentioned this too, because to some people, it's just having enough money to pay all your bills at the end of the month. and not be, not be in debt. So, okay, I want to transition
Well,
to effort.
hold on one second, because you
All right,
said
go.
something that was super important. You talked about, hey, I set a super realistic goal for myself. And then when I achieved it, I wanted to do more. You actually doubled your goal.
Yeah.
And part of it for you was you achieved those 100 days, and that gave you confidence, that created momentum, which creates more motivation. And that spurred you on to actually double the goal, where if you'd set 200 days, you may not have achieved that goal. That's what daily habits are on a micro scale. Hey, today I'm going to get up at a certain time. I'm going to go move my body. I'm going to post something on social media. I'm going to listen to a podcast. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to drink water instead of Coke. I'm going to drink beer and wine instead of a cocktail. I'm going to intentionally have a conversation with my kids or my spouse. There's all these things that are daily habits. And what happens is those are each a win. The same kind of endorphin, serotonin, dopamine hit that we get from achieving a goal, we're essentially creating micro goals that when we do that thing, we are excited about it and want to do more. That's the entire concept when I'm talking about that momentum creates motivation. It's whenever you do a couple of those small things, even if they're things you've already done, our mind gets excited and wants to do more. So if we just have the discipline of each of those wins work, I'm going to call three realtors. Holy crow, no one cuts me out. I want to call three more. Or better yet, one of them wanted to talk to me and have a coffee appointment. Or I sent an email that someone responded to, or someone shared my post. If we'll do those things over and over, some of those will create some wins for us. That creates motivation. And the next thing it creates is confidence. Confidence isn't a personality trait. I talk about it all the time. Confidence is a skill that you learn. And so that's how you do this is with even some of these micro goals. Now your habits are activities, but when you check them off, you've achieved a small goal. And I think that's important for people to understand is you can turn the tactics into the game. You can trick your mind in stuff that you already do, but if you put it on a list and you check it off, something happens in your mind. That's what people need to realize here is we want to achieve our goals really badly a lot of times, but we may not be able to achieve them. So to your point, I made a super realistic goal that I knew I could do. And then as soon as you did, be like, crap, but I want more of that. That feels good.
Right.
You take it all the way down to a small scale on a daily, weekly basis, and you get the same result.
It really needs to be broken down that way. It really is a mindset shift. It's something in your mind that has to change in order for you to just make that first move to build on it. Yeah, bro. By like, I think it was, I don't know, I think it was July or something that I hit my 100 mark. And I'm like, shit, I could get 200. I mean, like,
Yeah. And I want to ask you that question. In that moment when you hit your 100 that quickly, because you knew you were going to approach 100 before you got to 100
oh yeah.
that quickly, what was your thought process? How did you feel? What was like, obviously, like, hey, I could do more, but like, kind of unpack that for a second, because I think that's the relatable piece of this.
Bro, you described it perfectly. I mean, you really did. It really does build your confidence. It's like, first off, it's the gym. So you're working out, you're building muscle mass, you're losing weight. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot that you can say mentally wise about, I don't know, walking across the mirror with your shirt off. You know what I mean? And like liking what you see and being like, there's improvements there. Even if you don't like what you see, as long as there's improvement there, I think that that's a big thing. But it's like a big ball of momentum. It's like it's going, you can't stop me. I was like addicted to going to the gym. I mean, like it was just like a cool thing. And I think that I just tricked my brain into I don't want to say tricked isn't the right word, but I don't know, I disciplined. I mean, really, I controlled what my mind was thinking or the route that I was going and shifted it into something else. And bro, yeah, it feels amazing. It, it's like I would make fun of people like, oh yeah, you went to the gym at 4 a.m. How was that? Oh, it was awesome. It was amazing. You look at people like that, and like you're crazy. Like Phil, you're crazy to go to the gym at 4:45 in the morning. I'm sorry, but you are. But also, you're a mindset coach. You kind of have to show up there, like, yeah,
But
I don't
again,
like to wake.
the reason that I do that on a consistent basis is more so for me because I hate waking up early. And we all know we need to do hard things. We need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. When I actually get up at 4:30 and I get to the gym 4:45, 5 o'clock, it's one of the biggest wins I get all day. I could have landed some huge deal or got some huge, and it's still because for me, that's one of the hardest things. And so it's this huge win that carries me through. So even if something else is an epic fail, right? We've talked about before, our mind only distinguishes between wins and losses, but not how big they are. I'm like, well, that sucked, but I still woke up early, or I made my bed, or I drank a protein shake instead of eating a bagel. All of a sudden, those things matter. Now, there are people listening like, okay, what does this have to do with growing my mortgage business? Your tactics will be way more effective. The conversations that you have, your desire to want to create content. What we're doing is because you can't make every phone call a win, nor should you. I mean, it doesn't work that way. Not every content, post video that you put is going to absolutely explode. So these are ways to get more of that same feeling on things that are super approachable. You did trick your mind, but that's also how you create efficiency. If you can get more done in the same amount of time, that's the very definition of being efficient. So sometimes to have a positive mindset, we first got to deal with physically. I don't care if you don't want to go to the gym, that's cool. Go for a walk, take some deep breaths, right? And, pace while you're on the phone. If you oxygenate your blood, that oxygenated blood goes to the brain, releases endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, the feel good hormones. All of a sudden, you're in a better mindset place and you want to go do something productive.
Right. And here, how much is your confidence worth? Like I would, you could probably correlate. If you could correlate, put a number value to what confidence is and actually have it be a real thing, and then compare somebody on the phone that's confident versus somebody that's not. I mean, there's dollars there. And you said confidence is a skill. I'm reminded of Barry Habib. He has a great quote of confidence is fleeting. And it's because, yeah, it is. It can just go away, just like that. Um, but if you're doing these hard things, especially right away in the morning, you have that win already. You have the confidence. I've already done it. And you're 100% right, bro. That shines through in everything that we do at work, at home. And okay, I want to talk about effectiveness and efficiency. So, like, look, these are like my lanes when it comes to CRM, lead management, and that type of stuff. So, you're mentioning the loan officer that was doing $1 million a month. Now they're doing 3 million. There was green tasks. Now those aren't really green tasks because, like, look, your time actually is worth more, and you could probably hire that out and work on getting from 3 million to 4 or 5 million. So when it comes to that, I guess how are people getting more efficient? How are people being more effective, selling more with the same amount? And how do people bring their effort level down? Like, I don't have to actually work that hard, as hard as I used to. How do people accomplish those three things?
Yeah, great question. So the first part of this, like the example that I used, whenever he was just doing $1 million, I say just because he's now doing three. When he was doing $1 million a month, he could do multiple calls. Both he could do a consult call before application. He could do an application review call. He could do a post contract call. He could do a lot of these things, and those were green activities because he didn't have an abundance of leads or deals, and those were going to convert at a higher level. Now what happens is his calendar is full of calls, so he can't go do some of the other marketing and lead gen activities because he's constantly doing these things. And the conversation was, do you need to do all of those calls? Is the amount of time on each call, are you covering things that are necessary? And so part of it with efficiency is, if I said you need to take one step back to take three steps forward, are you pissed off that you took one step back? No, because you're still net two ahead, or two steps back and three steps forward. So in that conversation, I said, listen, we may have to eliminate one of these calls or shorten them or combine them? And is there going to be maybe 10 or 20% of the deals that don't convert because you're not doing as many of those calls? Yes, that's true. But because we've cut your time in half, you're able to go get even more deals. They're going to more than offset it.
Right.
And so sometimes it's just understanding for your individual business, what are the things that are absolutely necessary? Now, automation is a huge part of it in that conversation and others. shape, and others? Are there communication points that don't have to be from you, but can feel like they're from you? A quick text message on a milestone, or some type of an email or a video or a voicemail that explains that next part of the process. We call them one timers. I learned that from Todd Duncan years ago. If you get the same question asked over and over, what happens to my escrow account whenever I refinance? If you record a 2 or 3 minute video one time, then you're able to send them a text message. Hey, I recorded a video on this. If you still have questions, let me know. 80-90% of the time, those questions are answered. And even if you still have to get on a phone call with them or trade some text, it's still not near as much as you would have of answering that same question. So it's about truly understanding when it comes to efficiency, what are the things that are working? And with him, he didn't need to have every single one of those calls. You don't need to do an application review call with someone that has 30% down, has an 800 credit score and 100 grand in the bank. It's pretty straightforward, right? There may be a few things you can communicate, but you can automate those things. You can have a
Right.
video or something that's recorded. But again, the where I keep coming back to the mindset piece is being self-aware in your business. Did all of those calls, were they required for you to convert them? Early in your business, maybe so, but right now that's not the case. And so those are just some things to walk through. You had another part of the question, but I don't remember what it was.
That's all right. Well, just to kind of continue it, I see a lot of people. You wouldn't believe this, Phil, how many people run their entire business off of an Excel or Google spreadsheet. And I think that well, here it's not the same thing, but it's similar. 1 million to 3 million, you have to make decisions and you have to change different things. And man, I refuse. I won't do it off a spreadsheet. I will not. Maybe I'm a prima donna. I just won't. I won't do it. But like, how do you how do you sell that to somebody? So like what you're describing is that someone has to pare down their process to where they're less involved, fully expecting they're going to lose 10 to 20% business, but you get the free up of time. When it comes to CRMs, choosing which one you use, going from a spreadsheet and Outlook, and that's it, to that next level, do you find people struggle with that? Because I do.
Course, everyone does. First of all, no one, the same way people, humans, don't inherently love to be held accountable. We don't inherently love change. And the main reason we don't love change is because that requires us to do something different, to create a new process or to think about something different. And to call a spade, as humans, we're lazy. We just are. And so when change happens, that's going to require us to do something or not get to do something. And because we're lazy and inherently selfish, if we'll just be self aware about that, it makes the process a whole lot easier. I love change both in my life and around me because I've embraced change in terms of I can use it to get ahead because most people hate it, even I hate it. If I can be a voice of clarity, if I can be a guiding light or create strategies for people to navigate change, I've now created some influence. I've created a platform to move my business forward. And we can do that with clients on the ground. Rates are going up and down, housing supplies up and down. You've got this media outlet saying this media outlet saying that. If loan officers aren't just putting out content listing off features of their products and here's what I can do, if they'll actually put out content that's kind of a voice letting them know what's actually going on and in a non-boring way, I don't know how else to say it, in some type of an engaging way, or when you're having conversations with your clients and with your partners and you can kind of be that light in times of change, people flock to that because then, again, understanding human behavior, since we're lazy, oh, someone else already figured it out. It's
Right.
in I'm gonna take this one step further. If you think about new social media platforms or new technology, people don't want to go try this new thing. But yet, when it gets really popular, they don't want to go do it because there's already people that are super proficient at it. And like, well, I have to start from the ground up. Like, I don't want to do video because there's already so many people that are doing good video. Well, or Chat GPT or whatever.
Right.
Ironically, if you had jumped on and embraced the change to begin with, you could have tried to break it and figured it out when no one was proficient. So no one would have known or cared that you didn't do it very well.
Right.
So if we embrace change from the beginning and we try to adopt these things early and learn about it, not only do you create a platform for yourself as a go-to resource while you're figuring it out from anecdotal or personal experience, you don't have to worry about that fear of failure later or that spotlight on you because you don't know how to do that thing. We need to get over that fact that spotlight we think is on us is actually a spotlight on them because they're more worried about what we think anyway. They're not thinking about us, they're thinking about themselves. So we just need to get over that fact to begin with. But change is inevitable, change is going to happen. It's why so many people are struggling right now because we're trying to adopt a 2014, 2018, or even a 2021 strategy in 2024. It's not the same, y'all. It's just not.
Just isn't. It just absolutely isn't. Technology is different. People expect different things. And um, I mean, it's just it's night and day difference. I mean, 2014 for sure, but even 2021, everything's different. And
Everything's different.
you need to be able to manage your time and be effective and do it with as little effort as possible. Things need to be thought through. I did a post about this is don't make me think. And it well, you should probably think, but the don't make me think part is it kind of playing on being lazy in some ways, but really it's about being, you mentioned change is bad. It's about being addicted to changing things in a way that makes things efficient. So that
Right.
like I feel like laziness is almost a a superpower I have, in some ways, because I don't want if something can if you can click something, if you have to make 10 clicks, for instance, to get something done, and it could only be 1 or 2 clicks, like, bro, I'm pissed if I have to click that extra 8, 9 times. I think that we should, as loan officers, as just any professional, we should be addicted to making things as easy as possible for us so we can be more efficient and get more reps in and be more effective. So that's
So
my pitch for
I
shape.
agree with
You like
that.
that? You like
Yeah,
that?
I do like that a lot. And here I'll take it a step further because I 1000% agree. We also need to understand that the same pains we're having on the extra clicks and the being lazy and all the stuff, that applies to things that is our chosen profession. A lot of people get a mortgage because they have to, because they don't have cash to buy a house. So think about your clients. How many extra clicks, how many extra hoops do we jump through? How many extra phone calls that we think are necessary or touch points or whatever? You've got to understand the initial client consult call is most important so you can find out their why. What's significant about them wanting to purchase a home? What's the goal they're trying to achieve? How important is it for them to become a homeowner? Understand their communication style, what they're expecting from you, or you just setting the expectations for of what to expect. Hey, listen, this is really our main phone call. You're going to create a client profile. We're going to put some strategies together and send those over. My whole team's here to answer questions for you. You still have access to me. You'll also get some text, some emails, some videos that are going to guide you along in the process. And we're going to have this done, da, 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 da. If you set that expectation and meet it, they don't care if they talk to you because they feel like they're getting communication from you. But on the opposite, if you say, the easiest example is if you say you're going to close in 23 days and you close in 24 days, you're a villain. But if you say you're going to close in 27 and you close in 25, you're a hero. One's a day later than the other one, but it was around expectations. So
Right.
sometimes the efficiency can just be putting the right expectations out there, but also understanding our client doesn't want to deal with some of this stuff either.
Right.
We don't need to make it more complicated for the purposes of feeling like we're adding value because a lot of times we're not. We're just making it more difficult.
Right.
And sometimes they're just looking for simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, it's a definitely a balance of going saying too much up front and, and saying too little because I, anyone knows this, but if you have a deal blow up and you told them, yeah, 23 days and it's day 24, everybody's calling you. Title companies saying, "Hey, when are we going to get docs?" Buyer's agents pissed, listing agents pissed. Oh, the seller's going to back out and buyers are calling you, the wife is calling you, everybody's it's so inefficient. You're going to be so screwed. So you got to balance that. And what is that? I mean, that's up to you to figure out, but I think that you have to make an effort
That's the
towards that.
part you get paid for. Business
Right.
has been done, is being done, and will always be done on relationships. And having some type of relationship with your client is what you get paid to do. Everything else can be automated. Loan products can be explained choices can be offered, applications can be taken. The one thing that AI can never do, that automation can never do, is have a relationship with someone. It's the same reason huge corporate brands, celebrities and athletes and endorsements from people is to personify that quote brand, because we can't have a relationship with a company and we can't have a relationship with AI. So we need to be embracing AI and the change and the automation because it's going to allow us to do our job more efficiently. People are like, online application, what's the need for loan officers anymore? It's going to be the end of our industry, right? And now it's one of the most important efficiency tools we use. So we're not spending an hour on the phone taking an application over the phone. By the way, if you're doing that, stop it.
Which the client doesn't want anyway.
Right. So, in this whole conversation, we've got to realize that the Arjun Dinger and I were on a call with Freddie Mac this morning and doing a
Saw that.
presentation, and he said something that I'm totally going to steal right now. And he said that no, AI technology is not going to replace loan officers, but the loan officers that adopt AI technology and automation are going to replace the ones that don't. They're going to take their business. And it's exactly right. This is just another tool for us to do our job and focus on the things that only we can do. That's the art of efficiency. That's green time. What's income producing that only you can do. There's income producing activities that we think we're the only ones that can do it, that we can automate or that we can delegate. And then there's things that we shouldn't be doing at all.
Right.
So it is about action, but part of this is around the right kind of action. And we got to follow the 11th commandment: thou shalt not fooleth thyselfeth.
Myself. Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself about, I have to be the one to do this. No, you don't. Well, it's not going to be as good. Maybe not. But if you lose 10 or 20% of your conversion, but you buy 50% of your time and you've actually got leads coming in the door, that's a net positive. We're not going to get every deal. And we need to stop having a scarcity mindset that we're supposed to close every single lead that calls us, that talks to us. That's not the nature of the business. And if we try to focus on this scarcity mindset, if I have to close every one, that's how I'm going to grow, you're not going to grow. You can talk to from a John Benosian to anywhere in between of experienced producers that don't have any trouble bringing in business. You're going to find out you have your systems and your processes, and you find clients and partners that also match up with that system and process.
100%, bro. 100%. So, okay, you mentioned AI won't replace humans, but humans that you leverage AI will. Bro, that's actually a Dave Savage quote.
Is it?
Well, and maybe Arjun copied it. And also, it's kind of cliche, so I feel like anybody could have said that. But I 100% agree.
Hey, listen, cliches were profound truths until we used it too much. So
Yeah,
I'm a fan of cliches because if you get to the root of what's being said, it's profound if you'll apply it.
me too. So, I mean, okay, so in wrapping this up, you started talking a little bit about podcasting and making posts. And I think to kind of relate it to even just what we're talking about right now, a lot of people, maybe on this call, maybe just loan officers in general, need to adapt and change into doing new things. So here, I know that you do this because you're a coach and you're working with people that are actively doing big moves and doing things that are complex. So I know you broke it down a lot with a couple different things, but if you were to shorten up, hey, somebody knows they need to do something, whether it's, hey, I need to get more active on social. I need to look into different CRM solutions. I need to look into a good coach or whatever, or I need to get with a coach. I need to do this one thing and it's not getting done, or they're deciding to do it. What advice do you give to them?
Someone that knows they need to do something, but they're not doing it.
I would say like somebody that's like, look, I'm about to set this goal. I'm about to go down this path and and it's
Gotcha.
complex. Don't know if I'm going to make it. You're in
Yep.
ideation, pre-commitment to deciding.
Okay. Number one is make sure that the reason you're doing it is something that is worth it to you, that again, that you want bad enough, or you're going to miss out. The other thing from a mental perspective is expect it's going to be way harder than you think it's going to be. In almost every situation, as bad as it sounds, I look at a worst case scenario and then realize that that's not going to be the end of the world. Like the sun's still going to come up tomorrow. Like it's going to be fine. I'm still going to breathe air. The worst case scenario, once I get okay with that, then anything this side of it's better. It's okay. So again, a lot of people don't like that approach, and I understand why. But for me, it's expectations. I'm going to assume this is going to be way harder. So when it's harder than I originally thought, but not double as hard, I'm still okay. But it boils down to regardless of what you want to do, you just need to do it. I was talking to a guy, I've done a couple of calls today, or I did an in-person realtor event today as well. And a guy who's a radio DJ, a big personality in the Cincinnati area. He's a realtor, and he came up and started asking about doing a podcast. And it was all these things talking in circles. And I'm like, bro, you already know this forward and backward. You already have like, you need to like buy a USB microphone, plug it into your laptop, start talking, and get a $15-20 a month host platform and put the podcast out. Like you're way overthinking this whole thing. So for most of us, it's not even about thinking about it or planning it through or expectation. It's just about going and doing it, like ready, fire, aim, because we
Mhm.
can't get better at what we're not doing. But if someone's generally trying to say, is this something I should do? Is this worth it? If it's worth it, it doesn't matter how hard it is. So get okay with it being way harder. Get okay with you having to do a lot more work than you think you should have to, or that's fair compared to the person next to you. And say, it doesn't matter because I want this thing enough. And if you don't want it bad enough, then what's the point? You're just wasting your time. That's
100%.
why
So,
that's so key.
mhm. Absolutely. So to wrap us up, if you're looking for things to ready, fire, aim with some new ideas, you got to come to Momentum Builder. I think that the 20-minute TED Talk style presentations are like, I'm so excited about that. I think that that's like one of the biggest like upgrades, even though it's kind of just like just we're changing times. But I feel like everybody that delivers a presentation on the stage, the fact that it's only 20 minutes is, I mean, that they're going to be giving all their gold stuff, all of the, high level ideas that you can implement. And man, I'm just want to encourage you. I hope you're ready, fire, aim. Just take it and go. Um, and yeah, in regards to podcasting, I would say like I think you and I talked about this. Should everybody have a podcast? Probably not. But you're only going to find out if you actually do it and you take that first step. And bro, sometimes you got to get your first 10 episodes out of the way, even like your first
So
50, and like
it's
look at
it's
them and be
it's
like,
funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, and like, bro, my first 10 are terrible. Like I can't listen to them. I cannot listen to them. And bro, and I told you this too, and this is perfect for this, is that I learned how to podcast by listening to your first couple episodes. And what I should have
Those are
done,
the wrong episodes to
those are
listen
the
to,
wrong,
brother.
yes, they're the wrong episodes. I should have listened to your new ones because you basically, when you would welcome somebody to a show, you would basically say, all right, well, go and edify yourself, Barry Habib. Tell me why someone should listen to you, Dave Savage, all these
I
great
I
people.
can still remember the line I used because it was Barry, Tim Brahim, Casey Cunningham, Zenix, Dave Savage, Todd Bookspan, Bill Hart, like these incredible titans of our industry. And I'm like, hey, for those that may not be as familiar with you, would you take a second, talk about who you are, your background, or whatever? And I had another podcaster friend on the real estate side say, come, like, dude, you want them to edify themselves. And so that's why I'd given you that piece of advice is, dude, like, you need to, like, create that. So two things there.
It's
Number
cringy,
one,
bro. It's so cringy.
we couldn't get better at something we weren't doing. That's
Right.
the whole point is we have to go do it. And you asked the question, I've never taken this stance before. I never said this before. Yes, I think everyone should have a podcast if they want to have a podcast. And here's why. If you want to do a podcast, you're going to do it. There's still plenty of opportunity in and out of this industry. And Jimmy and
100%.
I, either one, can have a conversation about how to have it. But if you want to do a podcast, yes, you should. Why? Because if you want to do it, you like to do it, you have a reason to do it, yours is going to be good. There's like 2.5 million podcasts worldwide, and there's only a few 100,000 that are considered active, which means they put an episode out in the last 90 days. There's so much room in podcasting,
Yeah.
and it's a high trust science. Like obviously a podcast evangelist, but the tie down here. Thanks, Renee.
I like
The
it.
tie down here is this: we sit here and say, well, podcasting shouldn't be for everybody. Well, but we say all the time that video should be everybody, and posting content should be for everybody, and YouTube should be everybody. Podcasting should be too. So when it says it's for everybody, it doesn't mean it has to. The point is find your thing that even when days when you don't want to do it, you like it enough that you're going to because there's thing out here that you want. And I keep saying it, but that's the trick. Get your mind right, create some habits, take some action, and don't stop. That's it.
Excellent closing, brother. All right. Well, Phil, thanks, bro. You fucking rock,
Dude,
bro.
thanks, man. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to, I guess, promote next week. We have Sean Herrero on. Sonia, if you want to grab the graphic. I don't know if you want to play some music. We're at time, but like, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But we have Sean Herrero. Oh man, I love Sean. I'm gonna be on next week to listen to him. Always got some, he just has a fresh perspective. I love I know Phil, lots of kind words you could say for Sean too, but Sean's a top producer. He's in the trenches. He's doing content. If there's somebody to copy in the industry, Sean is definitely one of those. And dude, it's crazy. We were just mentioning Arjun, but he's coming
Yeah.
on in 2 weeks. Two people, excellent dudes. Definitely don't want to miss those. And what do we got? Reboot? Yeah,
Make sure you're
reboot.
at Momentum Builder. Be there.
Make sure you're at Momentum Builder. And I'm waiting for the Canva of the biggest discount ever for anybody. $331 off, but you have to do Jimi 231 because that's my lucky number. Long story, but like, look, you want the biggest discount, that's the one to use. And Phil, any closing words? I think that you crushed it.
Guys, be there. It's going to change your business. Super important. You don't want to miss it. First awesome event of the year.
On the record, bro, that's going to be epic. I think that the speakers dinner is going to be epic at Bill Dallas's house. I think just everything is going to be upgraded from last year, and last year was awesome. So make sure you get there. And again, use that discount code. Do it. Appreciate you guys.
See you guys.
Thanks so much.